A 50-year-old economic chokehold has finally cracked. For decades, Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, lived inside a structural trap, exporting high-quality crude oil, then burning precious foreign currency to buy back finished fuel from Europe. It was inefficient. It was designed, right? But as of early 2026, the numbers stopped lying. Nigeria's dependence on imported petrol is collapsing, not because of policy speeches, but because a real industrial machine has come online. Tankers that once dominated Lagos ports are no longer the only option. Dollars that once vanished overseas are being saved at home, and the leverage that keeps Nigeria's economy hostage just lost its grip. So Nigeria is no longer just buying fuel, it's reclaiming control of its money. And remember, if you want more Africa First stories the Western media ignores, hit subscribe. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how the Dangote Refinery didn't just build a factory, it built a door out of dependence.
Well, thank you for asking. But definitely the supply will be there. If you look at it, historically, Nigeria has been having fuel queues since 1972. And, we have actually removed those queues. It's not about actually relying on imports. For the first time, we're actually suppliers to Europe and US. Today, we have written to NMDPRA, the midstream regulator, and we have confirmed to him that we can supply 50 million every day. And, there won't be queues at all. Because I can tell you for nothing, right now, even when we were servicing the refinery, there are no queues. So question of getting queues is history. It will never ever happen by the grace of God. No more. That's number one. Number two, even our neighboring countries, they won't have queues at all, because they can buy from us by official purchase. By February, we'll be able to supply about 15 to 20 million liters, more than the consumption of Nigeria. So we still have to export. So with that is fine. And people who are even like in plastic industries, we will fully serve the domestic market, which they used to use about $350 to $400 million to import. We'll take that one out. But going forward, what do we really want to do? What we are going to do by 2028, we are going to take this refinery to the largest refinery in the world. We're going to beat Reliance. Reliance is 1.25 million barrels per day. We will be at 1.4 million barrels per day. We have already launched that, we have signed, and we're going to start piling for the refinery by January, before January ending, and it will be delivered on time.
So in 2023, Nigeria spent more than $14 billion supporting refined fuel. So let that sink in, right? A country with massive oil reserves was the world's best customer for foreign refineries. And that was the old system. Today, the Dangote Refinery in Lekki is operating at a scale of roughly 650,000 barrels per day, producing tens of millions of liters of petrol and diesel every single day. So that domestic supply has already cut Nigeria's fuel import bill by more than half compared to just 2 years ago. So the Independent Petroleum Markets Association of Nigeria now sources locally instead of across the Atlantic. And this is not a pilot project. This is an industrial takeover. So, for years they said Africa was too ambitious to refine its own fuel. And it's funny how African ambition only becomes dangerous right when it starts to work. So we were told Nigeria lacked the technical capacity the technical capacity to refine fuel, right? We were told imports and subsidies were the only way to keep the peace. And the truth is, the import system was a policy choice and a wealth transfer scheme. So foreign refiners and local import cartels made billions, and Nigerian taxpayers made the sacrifice. So the insight here is that the refinery flips the entire equation. So when you refine locally, you stop exporting raw value and importing finished dependence, right? So you keep dollars inside of your own country. That's not just economics, that's sovereignty, right? So the global fuel market loves competition until the competition comes from Africa, right? So first, the Naira, right? Nigeria's currency has been crushed for decades by one thing: constant dollar demand for fuel imports. And every liter refined in Lekki is a dollar Nigeria no longer has to beg for, right? So that stabilizes the Naira. And that reduces inflation as well. That gives Nigeria breathing room. So secondly, West Africa. So Nigeria is no longer just feeding itself. It's positioning itself as a fuel hub of the region. So under the AFCFTA, Nigerian refined petrol can supply Ghana, Benin, Togo, Cameroon, and others. So that turns Nigeria from a buyer into a price setter. And then third, industrial jobs. So Lekki is not an oil site, it's an industrial city. So engineers, logistics, power systems, finance, maintenance, that is what real development looks like. So here, they're suddenly worried about monopoly, and of course they are. When you've been the only seller for 50 years, the first African factory feels like, a cartel. So watch what happens next. European refineries built specifically to serve Nigeria are now facing a demand cliff, right? Their biggest customer just became their competitor. And geopolitically, this matters because when Nigeria doesn't need dollars to buy fuel, it doesn't need dollars to be obedient, right? That opens the door to regional energy trade, local currency settlement, and eventually a new African financial architecture. So this is not just about petrol, it's about who controls Africa's money. So Nigeria didn't end imports overnight. It did something far more dangerous to the old system. It made imports optional. And when a former colony makes dependence optional, right, empires get nervous. So, mashallah, that's your African insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because I'm MrEmpowerTV. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. This is Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.